What is up, guys? This is Matt Cox back with another episode of the Saucetown Investor podcast. Today is going to be a very quick and tactical episode. We're going to talk about what I would do in 2025 if I had zero doors, zero houses, properties, etc. to my name, and I wanted to scale and own real estate as quickly as possible and to get it done this year. So there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of strategies and creative ways to structure deals, and we're going to talk about all of that stuff on this podcast. But when you're getting started out, I want to talk about the best way to just get some doors under your belt. And this doesn't require, it can, but it's not necessary. It doesn't require any fancy structures or getting a seller to carry a note for you, or going sub 2 or going off market or any of this stuff. In my humble opinion, if you want to own real estate and own as much real estate as possible, as quickly as possible, it's a very simple game. Here's what you should do. I would go back and I would buy a owner-occupy fourplex. Now, what does that mean? Fourplex, very simple. It's a 4-unit building, and you live in one of the 4 units. The reason we do this is because anything in the 1 to 4 unit space, you can use your owner-occupy loan. You get up into 5+ units, that's considered a commercial building. It changes all of the rules around it. So what are the advantages of your owner-occupy loan? It's pretty simple. Again, on an owner-occupy loan, you can get away with, and again, I am not a mortgage broker. I want to be clear about that. But you can put down only 3 to 5% of your purchase price in order to get into that, in order to own that building. And so, on a typical investor purchase, you need 20, usually 25. Sometimes you can get away with 20% down. But the owner-occupy loan is like the cheat code of real estate. So you look at these, I'll use Salem, Oregon, where I mostly invest, as an example. Most fourplexes are between $700,000 and $800,000. So you do that as an investor. Do the math. $800,000, 25% down. You need a $200,000 down payment. Okay, if you're now on an owner-occupy, let's do the math again. 5%, you need 40 grand. 40 grand, and sometimes you can go as low as 3%, but let's just say 5. 40 grand to own $800,000 worth of real estate. There's not many other places that you can own an $800,000 asset and only be into it for $40K. And on a lot of these, the other advantage, so you usually get a slightly better rate on your mortgage if it's owner occupy, and you can often get 30-year debt. That means, in simple terms, your loan is not due for 30 years. So as long as you keep renters in there and keep making your payments, I'm pretty confident in betting that you're going to do pretty well on that asset. If you're an investor, usually these loans have like 5, 7, if you're lucky, maybe a 10-year balloon. Owner occupy, it is 30 years, guys. You can throw that money down and don't have to worry about it. Of course, if rates drop, you can always refinance it whenever you want to. But the point is, you have the option. It's not the bank calling you and saying that your loan is due. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking is, okay, these things cost, a fourplex in Salem probably costs $700,000 to $800,000. There's no way, I only make 100 grand or 80 grand, whatever you make. I can't qualify for this. Again, talk to a broker, but one of the other advantages here is if this was an $800,000 single family home, you're right, you wouldn't qualify right now with rates where they're at and the monthly payment. You would get denied for the loan. What you can often do with these, multifamily buildings, in this case a fourplex, is you can actually use the rent income from the other 3 units. You're living in 1 unit, you've got 3 rented out. You can use the income from those 3 units to qualify. So let's just to use round numbers. Let's say you got your eye on this fourplex, and you run the numbers. The principal, interest, property taxes, and insurance are $4,000. Again, just using round numbers. It might be different. Maybe you can't qualify for the $4,000, but your lender looks at it, and the 3 units that are rented out, each of those tenants is paying $1,000 a month in rent. So now, do the math. Your monthly payment is effectively $1,000. Now, guys, just know this is a little bit of an oversimplification, but it is directionally correct. It allows you to qualify for a lot more real estate than if this was a single family home. The other thing it does is, if your goal long term is to own a lot of real estate, it's a great way to kind of get a crash course in what being a landlord is. You're effectively, it's your house, but you're effectively an on-site manager. So you are learning the tenant relations side of it. You're learning how to collect rents. Maybe if you don't have a ton of expendable income or reserves in the bank right now, and you're a little bit handy. Again, guys, don't violate any Oregon general contractor laws, but if there's minor maintenance or yard work stuff, you can do it yourself because you live there, and you can really start saving up money over the course of time by doing this. Another great thing this does, it gets you 4 doors, but it also just helps with your general finances. For most people, there's probably there's some exceptions for people that have big student loans or from medical school or something like that. But for the most part, for most people, our housing costs are our number one expense in our monthly budget. And what this does in some cases, the example that I use is it's $4,000 total costs, and you cover $3,000 of it with rents. But I've seen plenty of people where they wipe out their entire housing costs. So maybe your monthly payment's $4,000. And each of those 3 tenants is paying you $1,400 a month. Do the math there. You've got $4,200 in rents coming in. Your monthly payment is $4,000. So it's a great way to wipe out your monthly housing costs. And if your goal is to own more real estate, you can start saving up for that next deal. Another thing that's kind of the beauty of these owner-occupy loans, is you can do them once a year. There's rules about that, and some people will do it will do it more than once a year. If you want to be, I don't want any of you guys breaking the rules or committing mortgage fraud or anything like that. So for the purposes of this, you are supposed to live, when you do one of these owner-occupy loans, you are supposed to live in the building for minimum of 1 year. So what I see people do, I know people that have done this, is they will literally just go buy a house buy a fourplex every single year. So you buy the first one, get 4 doors under your belt, use that owner-occupy loan, 3 to 5% down, boom, 1 year, 365 days later, close on another one, go move into that one for a year, 365 days after that, buy another one. So you can see how this starts to compound. You don't need a ton of money to do it. And in 3 years, if all you did was this strategy, you would have 12 doors in that time. This is, like I said, there's a million ways to succeed in real estate. There's a lot of different strategies out there, and I'm not telling you to not use those as well. But if you want the most layman's terms, simple way to own a bunch of real estate, this is the way to do it. So I hope that episode helped you out a little bit. Maybe it provides you guys with some ideas if you're not sure how to get started in 2025. But the owner-occupy loan on a fourplex, it's the biggest no-brainer in the game. Thanks.